valves right behind the camera. Nice vertical, nice. Look, dude, today we're gonna be installing some KW V3 coilovers. I'm super stoked about these because, man, these are the V3's, man. They have a few more adjustments than a regular set of coilovers. There's dampening, there's bump, all that. It's really cool. But along with these, we're actually going to be installing some ground control camber plates. If you can't tell already, dude, I'm exhausted because I've already done one side and there were some complications. So I'm happy to share this with you. Let's get on to it. First of all, obviously you want to jack up the car. You want to jack it up, take the wheel off, and take everything that you don't need for your new set of coilovers. Let's get to it. All right, next up, you want to loosen these 3 bolts from the top. Just loosen them just a smidge so that later on it wouldn't be as hard. It's a 13 mil, okay? Then you're gonna want to, undo your sway bar end link. By the way, stay tuned because we are gonna be doing a sway bar install soon, an aftermarket sway bar. But then there's an 18 mil bolt right here to release the shock from the top, okay? Let's get on with it. Nice and tight. Yeah, I already did the entire right side of the car. Boy, I'm exhausted. But it's all good, because dude, this car is hopefully gonna feel real good, man. Hopefully. So for the sway bar end link, you're gonna need 2 sets of tools. You're gonna need an open end wrench. Okay. Oh, actually, let's get a long socket because you can start loosening it. Watch out for your fingers, because we all know how that can turn out, right? Don't be like me and put your open end wrench on the opposite side, on the inside of the sway bar end link. Each, whichever, because one side needs to be held while the other side is getting undone. There we go, that is loose. It's also a good idea to use some WD-40 to loosen all this stuff up. Thank you. Oh yeah, I mean the sway bar end links aren't too bad, but what you do want to do is spray WD-40 on the bottom of the shock absorber, right? You just spray it in there for it to get in, as well as on the bolt that tightens it. Regular 16 mil on the bottom end, okay? And you open and wrench, make sure. I mean, I'm talking so much, you get it, you know? All the dampening settings and whatnot, I made them to kind of standard medium. It's up to you, but they were super dope actually. All right, the bottom bolt, that's an 18 mil. We're taking the shock off now. Okay, it's an 18 mil. There's only one big bolt. You will see it. There's nothing on the other side of it, so just remove that bolt. If you have an impact, that's even better. But you don't need to remove it all the way. Just saying. Just loosen it up, nice and easy. And in theory, once the sway bar end link is out, so just lift it from the back a little bit. That way your sway bar end link has some room to play. Okay, well, after you move the sway bar end link, you've released that bolt on the bottom right, that 18 mil that holds the shock. You use a sludge. There we go. That is loose. Difficult part is to now get it out of its seating position. This takes some wiggling to do. If you have a friend to help you, it'd be much better. But you kind of have to push this down as far as you can, the entire assembly, right? And you kind of have to twist it and maneuver it. If you get it back into here, into the bolts, it makes it actually a lot easier. There we go. Now you have much more room. There we go. There you go. The stock, strut, and everything is out. Now we get to the fun part. By the way, you don't want this to hang too long because it's hanging on the wires. We have this camber plate from Ground Control. The link's gonna be in the description. These are specifically for the M3. They say to use the stock nuts that come with this camber plate kit, but I found them to be not too good, considering that I just did the entire right side of the car, okay? They're not the best because we're actually also going to be using this plate that you can get from ECS as well. It's pretty much a reinforcement plate for the strut tower. Apparently these cars, they have a little bit of a problem with these. If you use some sort of coil over, some janky stuff, over time, because of the rough ride, they pretty much mushroom out. The tower becomes kind of mushroomed out. I think that's the term they use for it. What I did on the right side, I put the reinforcement plate, I put the camber plates, and I used the OEM bolts nuts that were on the actual original strut, right? So what you want to do is you want to put it in and just put it in all together. Get it into the holes. At first, when I was doing the right side, I thought that these screws are actually too short, but they're not. They're good enough, considering that there's such a large tower of things over them, you know? So you just want to start threading one of them in. Don't tighten it too hard yet. The nuts that came with the camber plate aren't the best because of this reason. This is the OEM, this is the one that came with the nuts, with the camber plate. See how this is deeper, and it's actually also threaded. So this has more, it grabs on more than this does. So I toss those. All right, so after you tighten all these 3 nuts up, right, you can put your caps back on. Look at that. We adjusted our front wheels to -1 degree, just like we did on that side. Just for now, we're probably gonna have to adjust it later. Then you come over here, you grab your new coil over, you remove this 22 mil nut. I think it's 22, it might be 21. I'll mention it later. But you take it, I adjusted it to the absolute lowest setting first, just to make it easier to fit in. Boom. That is in, okay?
Like a glove.
Like a glove. You want to tighten this guy. It's an 18 mil. Remember that? Best way to do this part is you take another jack or something, and you lift it. You want to lift this up into the camber plate, and make sure your spring's sitting good. Okay. Put it all the way. 22 mil nut. Take that and you just hammer at it. Great, it's on. It's not tightened all the way, but it's on. There's 2 nuts pretty much that you're gonna have to hold this one and you're gonna have to tighten that one. The smaller one is a 10 mil. I take some of these vice grips, tighten them. Nice and tight. You take your 10 mil and I believe it's counterclockwise. Yes. Now it's tightening. Once you're holding the big 22 mil and you're tightening the 10 mil, there we go. Now your strut is tight, and that's really all there is to this part. You can then put your cap on. Boom. Looks nice and pretty. The fun part is we can adjust the ride height. This is about where mine was, and then you take the little tool that comes with this kit, this whole assembly, and you lock it. Boom. It is locked. Isn't going anywhere now. Sweet. Now, sway bar end links. VW provides you this nice shorter one. Take your new guy, and same sort of deal on this. You need a 16 mil open end wrench and a 16 mil socket. You just tighten them. Make sure everything's tight. And that is pretty much it for the front coilovers, man. That is it. Okay, now you put the tire back on, and you pray to God that your ride height is about the same. And if not, you can always remove your tire
And readjust it with this.
Readjust it with the rears are a tad bit easier. Okay, so from the bottom one, it's behind, right? So you're gonna need an impact. That guy right there. Boom. It releases just like that. On this side, that's where the shock is. There are 2 13 mil. To officially and completely get it out, you're gonna need to get that rubber grommet out. That like cover, okay? Just a little cap. Beautiful cap. We're gonna be reusing this portion of it. But we have to reuse this. So for you to undo this, use some WD-40 on this, just in case. You're gonna need a 17 mil impact just to break it loose. Dude, this old man needs a little rest. Okay, it's loose, but it's gonna keep spinning, right? It's gonna keep on spinning. So you take your 17, you take your vice grips again. Ooh, nice and tight. And you go at it. It's counterclockwise, you know, lefty loosey, righty tighty. You wanna loosen it. Boom, loose. Take all this off. And we're gonna be reusing this entire assembly. But here's another little trick. If you're down here and also want to reinforce your strut and whatnot, we're gonna be taking this, putting it through like that. And I got these little reinforcement bars, right? And they're a little bit taller, so it's nice because you can adjust your ride height just a little bit more, you know? Take this guy, tighten it all the way, 17. Tighten it, take the second guy that was with it, and tighten it over it. And that way, you know it's secure, and it ain't going nowhere. Put it back in the car. Make sure that the rebound settings are on the outside, facing the outside of the car, right? Facing the tire. Because if you put it backwards, I mean, it's fine, but this just looks better. If you want to show off to your friends, be like, yo, I got plus and minus on rebound, dude. I got it. I'll push it from the top, and you take these two 13 mils and just start, you know, just putting them on. And then you just tighten them, yeah. Nothing crazy. You're gonna need something long, you're gonna need something long. You're just gonna pry out the spring, man. The spring's actually taller. And look, there's probably better ways to do it, but dude, this is a DIY, and this is how I do it. Hold spring out. We're gonna be reusing this top little rubber piece, and I've already readjusted the setting on this and the ride height. It's exactly the same as the other side. Now you're gonna need some help of a friend, because I can't do this alone. Yeah, I got it. So I'll be putting this in. There's a little mounting spot at the top, if you look, for the top of the spring, right? The center of the spring, that's where it goes in. Since this is a little bit taller, we made it a little bit taller, I'm not gonna be slammed on, you know, I'm not gonna be on the belly. I'm gonna have to push this down as far as I could. The height adjustment perk, it's up top, okay? It goes up top to where it's supposed to sit. Make sure that that is the case. Also, when you're torquing this down, the washer, it's supposed to be on the outside where the bolt goes through, okay, for the shock. KW is very specific on not using an impact wrench. You'll see me using an impact wrench in the video, but that's just to, you know, I'm not tightening it. Hand tighten it, but I'm just kind of screwing it in quicker. That's it. I'm gonna lift it higher and I'll tell you when to stop. Higher, higher. Oh, slow down, higher. A little bit. Okay, stop. You're good. Go higher. Stop. It's going. All right. Impact time, boy.
Hey, guess what?
That's looking fresh. Look at these coilovers, dude.
Look at these hot boy colos.
Ooh, so hot. Too bad ain't nobody ever gonna see them. And there you go. The end result should be something like that. You see that? The numbers are facing the correct, you know, they're correctly placed. This washer's on the outside. That's how it needs to be done. And then you can adjust all these settings and whatnot. This bump and dampening, it's sweet.
So basically, after you do that, put your tire back on, lower the car,
And go for a test drive.
or adjust if needed, and then go for a test drive.
Well, for it to adjust, is gonna have to sit in.
We'll
for
have
a
to
little
settle
bit,
in
you know?
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Crucial moment, never drop it immediately fast unless you know exactly what you're doing. Clearly, I know exactly what I'm doing because I'm dropping it slow. We'll readjust ever so slightly.
Ooh.
It's looking good, dude. I like this red height though. Not too low, not too bad. This side's already settled in a little more. Same with this one. But, you know, this is just a visual. And if you noticed, we're running square setup now. Yeah, I had all 4 wheels redone. What was it? Oh, Wheel Doctor. Shout out to Wheel Doctor. Thank you. They look amazing. They look great. And they feel... Oh, yeah. Nice. Put the entire mess back to where it was and go for a drive. And you're going to know what we think now.